Hey guys, welcome to another video. I really appreciate you joining today. Today I wanted to do a comparison between the Altra Torin 5s that came out last year and the Altra Torin 6s that just came out earlier this summer. Talk about some of the changes they made and what I like and I don't like. I will say that the Altra Torin 5s were some of my favorite shoes last year. Extremely comfortable. They lasted me until I decided to retire mine at like 430 miles, which is a pretty good life for me. I usually get 300 to 400 miles. Sometimes there's a few shoes that I'll get more than that, but I got about 430, so I was happy with them. They have the Ego Max midsole, 28 millimeter stack height. Ego Max is soft and cushioned, but it has enough bounce to where it doesn't feel too squishy. I mean, to me, they're not a real fast feeling shoe because they're, I think the bounce kind of makes up for the softness, but it kind of cancels it out and just makes it extremely comfortable. I found these to be wonderful shoes for long runs and recovery days. I really enjoyed the shoes. The upper was what they call a breathable knit, and I did find it breathed pretty well. Now it did feel a little warmer, probably because I chose the black colorway, but it did breathe well and was a very good shoe. The things I did not like about the Torin 5 was it had this tongue that was thin, but it was also fairly stiff, so it would kind of dig into your ankle. But if you could get around that by wearing socks that were you probably need a medium thick sock. You didn't want to wear a real thin sock, and you wanted the sock to go above where these came up against your ankle, or this would cut into your ankle. And I did have a few runs where I had lower socks and it cut into my ankles, so that was not good. The other thing I didn't really like that much about the Torin 5 were these thin laces. Now I never replaced them because they weren't that bad. They stayed in place once tied. They were just extremely thin and harder for my hands to manipulate and tie. Other than that, I really enjoyed the shoes, got good wear out of them, and found them very comfortable. They're light enough too. They're in a men's size 9, they're like 9 ounces. In my men's size 11.5, they came in at like 9.84 ounces, so they were still light enough where you could feel like you could pick up the pace for everyday runs. But I just preferred them for the long runs or the recovery days. Fast forward to the Altra Torin 6, the new version. I will say, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. They stuck with the Ego Max midsole, which I thought was great, with a 28 millimeter stack height, both in the heel and the forefoot. So the rubber is still the same on the outsole. The ride feels pretty well identical to the Torin 5s. And I love the ride on the Torin 5, so I'm very happy about that. Now, some of the things they did change, they went with a more structured heel collar that a lot of people actually say now grips their foot better and allows it to lock in better. I had no trouble with the lockdown in the 5s. The heel collar fit me fine, so and the 6s, the heel collar is not bothering me and it feels good. So for me, it was no difference. Both shoes work good in the heel collar area. Because of that structured heel collar, I think they say this shoe comes in about 1/10 of an ounce more, so more like a 9.1 ounces in a men's size 9. And I do see that also. Like I said, this one I got 9.84 in the Torin 5. In my men's size 11.5, I'm now getting 9.95 in a men's size 11.5 in the Torin 6. So right about 1/10 of an ounce, but it's not noticeable on foot. The other thing they changed is they went to this tighter weave, whereas this had what they call breathable mesh upper. This has a jacquard knit mesh upper, kind of a cross between a knit and a mesh. And I'll say it's not real hot, but I do think it's a little bit warmer, so it's not miserable hot, but it's not my favorite shoe in the very hottest of days, like the 100-degree weather. Any other time of year, it's fine. And I think this may be a more durable material. So for me, other than I think it might be just very slightly less breathable. Not a big issue at all. Now the things that they did that I think were big improvements, the tongue is still pretty thin, but it is definitely softer. They put a soft edge on it, so that problem with it digging into the front of my ankle, I don't have anymore. So that's a big plus. I think Altra listened to the complaints on that. They've also, I think, made the tongue more breathable. If you look at it, there's bigger breathing holes, which even though I think the upper is a little bit warmer, is a little less breathable, the tongue I think is more breathable. The other thing, that the laces that were thin and a little harder for my old hands to manipulate, they've now gone to a little bit wider, flatter lace, which I find real easy to tie, and it's still staying in place well. So all in all, I think if you enjoyed the Torin 5s, you're going to enjoy the Torin 6s. The ride is still the same. They're still basically the same shoe. If you had a little trouble with the heel fit, that hopefully is better on the Torin 6. I didn't really have an issue either way. And a lot of the biggest complaints I heard with the Torin 5 was that tongue that dug into your ankle. I am not finding, this is definitely softer, and I think they've improved that, so the tongue is not digging into you. That's pretty much it. I'm looking forward to getting in 400 plus miles again out of the Torin 6s. I'm enjoying them so far. Just thought you might be interested in my thoughts on the differences between the two versions of the shoe. It still may be worth it if you can find, and you don't worry too much about, if it doesn't bother you too much that this tongue is kind of sharp, and you can wear a thicker, like a medium width, medium weight sock that goes above that. You might still consider buying the Torin 5s on clearance that are out there if you can find some in your size. Otherwise, I think the Torin 6 is a great shoe. The only difference in price, as we're seeing in most things in the economy these days, and definitely in running shoes, the prices have gone up. The Torin 5 sold for $150. The Torin 6 is now selling for $160. Not as big a jump as some shoes, but it is inflating, just like we're seeing in a lot of shoes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you found the information useful or interesting, please consider hitting the thumbs up, the like button. If you're interested in more of my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and keep moving.